Hi, welcome back to the Barrett channel and welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about manufacturing, but before I do, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who watches our channel, and a special thank you to those people who support us. You can support us in three ways: either WeChat, buy me a coffee, or become a Patreon. But we do appreciate each and every one of you, so thank you very much. Okay, manufacturing. Recently, due to the COVID-19 outbreak, many Western countries have been suggesting they want to bring their manufacturing back from China. Now, the reason why so many of these companies manufacture in China, a number of years ago, they were all falling over themselves to rush to China to take advantage of cheap labour and get their products manufactured cheaper so they could make higher profits for their shareholders. However, this COVID-19 outbreak has exposed a sort of weakness or a perceived weakness where these countries are all very, very reliant on China. And because they can't ship stuff out of China, or because China factories have shut down, they can't get enough products. Now, I do believe that from a strategic point of view, there are certain things that you should not rely on outside countries to manufacture, because there are certain things that you will always need in any kind of hostile situation, any kind of emergency situation, or a situation like we're seeing now. Then you won't have access to those products. So I do think it's very, very important to have a strategic manufacturing in your country, but I think that should only be for certain goods. However, many of these Western countries are now talking about decoupling with China and bringing their manufacturing back home. Personally, I believe these are very kind of political statements, and I think the reality of it is that they won't be able to do this. And I think there's a number of reasons why they won't be able to do this. The first reason, I believe, is that when Western countries were good at manufacture, when they manufactured a lot of things, 30, 40 years ago, they had the skills base there. They had the skills base in manufacturing, designers, manufacturing, production experts. And I think since they moved all their manufacturing to China, or a majority of their manufacturing to China, they have lost a whole lot of that skills base, and that will take time to get back. So they can't just move manufacturing back because they don't have the skills base. I also feel that another issue for Western countries is labour. People just don't want to do manufacturing jobs. Over the years, since Western countries have lost manufacturing, they've moved into a lot of financial kind of products, which basically only makes money on paper. It's not kind of real money, so to speak. And I think this is another reason where China have done so well, and they've built up their country, because they've manufactured. And I honestly believe that manufacturing is what makes your country great. You have a good, strong manufacturing base. You manufacture and build products and you export them around the world, and that brings in hard currency to your country, and that's what China have done over the last 20 years. So the next thing I cite in this issue with bringing manufacturing back home is the economies of scale that China have. So let me tell you what I mean by that. So China will set up a factory to manufacture an item, and they don't think, we will manufacture a few thousand or a few 100,000. They will gear their manufacturing up to make millions and millions of those products, because they ship to every country around the world. So that makes the price of the product to manufacture much, much less. Now, it's very unlikely that Western countries will be able to do this, because they just don't have the infrastructure there to do that. Over the last 20 or 30 years, China have built up a manufacturing supply chain which is probably nobody in the world can rival at this current time. They have also built a shipping infrastructure around that. So, many products here in China, they go off, and I've seen this myself. I've been to factories. When stuff comes off the end of the production line, it doesn't go into a warehouse, it doesn't go into storage, it goes straight into the back of a container truck. As soon as that container is full, off to the port it goes, and it's loaded on a ship to ship off to pretty much, you know, anywhere around the world. And they have that infrastructure here. That is something that Westerners, or the Western countries, the Western infrastructure, it's just not there anymore. So this is another reason why I think it will be almost impossible for, you know, these manufacturing to move back to these Western countries. I feel it's more of a political statement than actually something that can be achieved. And many viewers may note, and they may say, oh well, you know, there's already many companies moving out of China to places like you know, Vietnam, you know, the Bangladesh, etc., etc. And yeah, that is very true. But what you've got to remember is a lot of those things that are moving are very lower quality, or not necessarily lower quality, but sort of lower end products, so cheap to manufacture products, because actually here in China now the cost of labour has increased significantly over the last 10 years. So those very cheap products, they are moving to places like Bangladesh, Vietnam, maybe India, Pakistan, because the labour is much cheaper there. Many of these companies are actually owned by Chinese businessmen. I had a friend whose husband had a factory here in China. He also had a factory in Bangladesh, and he would spend 2 months at his factory in China, then he would go to Bangladesh for a couple of months. They manufacture belts, you know, all the higher quality product is manufactured in China, all the sort of cheaper product is manufactured in Bangladesh. Now, what you also have to remember is many of these countries, they still don't have the infrastructure that China has. You know, they just don't have, one, the manufacturing supply chain, and they don't have the transport infrastructure. You know, you just won't believe how easy it is here in China to move stuff from factory to ports, because they've built that infrastructure. Many foreign countries don't have that. And what's replacing those factories here in China are more high-tech things. So whereas these Chinese companies were making sort of cheap, lower end products, you've now got more and more companies that are making much more technology based products, higher end products, higher quality products. So this is something that, you know, is happening here in China, and so many more jobs are being created in China. So as these factories that make the sort of cheaper stuff move out of China to countries like Vietnam, Bangladesh, Pakistan, etc., you're finding more and more higher tech companies are taking their place. These higher tech companies are employing higher skilled people. You know, so these jobs are being replaced, but they're being replaced with different jobs. Just like the same happened in Japan, you know, they moved up the value chain, and many countries will do that, and that's exactly what China are doing right now. Anyway, that brings me to the end of another video on the Barrett channel. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. It helps our algorithm, it helps us get out there. If you like the channel in general, please consider subscribing, hit the bells, follow us on social media. I'll put our Twitter and Instagram feeds up there, and they'll also be in the description. Anyway, as always, for now, take care.